right, guys. See some new faces, some old faces. Thank you for coming out to OKC Entrepreneur Group. You're the crazy ones that showed up when all kinds of events are going on, so thank you for hanging out with us and coming here. Like I always say this, my dad used to tell me when I was growing up, is you never know who you're going to meet or what idea. One person, one idea can have a little impact or a huge, gigantic impact in the rest of your life, and you never know unless you show up. So thank you for showing up and supporting us. Real quick, how does the new ones here, how did you find us? I'm always curious. Meetup? Anybody on Facebook? Meetup, Twitter?
On Facebook over here.
Facebook? One Facebook? Okay. So all Meetup. Yeah, Meetup's been pretty powerful for us, and so social media. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so quick announcements. At the end of the night, we a lot of us go right across the street to eat pizza. It's called the meeting after the meeting. And that's where we break bread together and have tea, pizza, beer, water, hang out, whatever. We can literally walk over there, called Joey's Pizzeria. They actually stay open late for us. So that's about 15 of us or 20 of us go over there in the center table, carry on the conversation. Next month, we have another person named Jason G. coming out to come speak. He's a successful realtor, and he's also doing a lot of stuff in the chamber. And you may actually know Jason G.
The name sounds familiar.
His real name is Jason Grosh. Can't pronounce.
Yeah.
We shortened it to G. It's hard to pronounce. So he'll be speaking next month, same time, 4th Thursday. Angela, any other announcements? She took off. Okay. So we're a small enough group here. We can actually do quick introductions. So who you are, what you do, and maybe something you're looking for to get out of here, if that's what you're looking for. So I'll start. I'm Ron Harris. I'm a serial entrepreneur, former IT guru turned real estate investor. That's changed my life, set me free, flipping houses and rentals and all that stuff. I say it's not as easy as it looks on TV, but not as much reality. That's all fake. So, but that set me free to do what my ultimate purpose in life is, actually coaching and mentoring and help people take the entrepreneurial leap of faith and or into real estate investing. They're both very similar. That's my ultimate purpose. I own a real estate investing company, a coaching company, and we own a real estate brokerage that's also investor friendly. That's me in a nutshell. Who you are, what you do, and maybe something you're looking to get out of tonight.
I'm Mark Tanner. I work in health and nutrition. We give the body what it needs to heal and repair itself. We're a social business, so every time somebody consumes one of our products, we also generate a product to a child that's malnourished. Our end goal is to end childhood malnutrition, which takes the lives of 6 million children a year. And I'm looking forward to what you have to say this evening. And I'm also looking for anybody that would be interested in taking a short 7-question survey. When you complete the survey, we'll feed a child.
Hello everybody, my name is Genesis. I'm a real estate agent, and I also work for Amazon. I'm a customer service supervisor for them, but I get to do from home. So I would love to get into some investing, real estate investing soon. So I'm glad to be able to network with people that are into that.
Hi, I'm Shiani. I'm a stay-at-home housewife at the moment.
Hardest job in the world?
I just got hired at the Victoria's Secret brand in Pink. Part-time job. I'm trying to get into real estate. Me and my husband are, and start my own clothing brand. Yeah, I'm going to network and learn more about the business.
Awesome.
I guess I'll stand too. Hi, my name is Patricia. My day job is I'm a contracting officer for the government, so I spend all you all's money. Thank you very much. I'm interested in getting into real estate investing, so I'm beginning, and I just come to these meetings to network with people and to kind of get my foot in the door and start doing the actual investing.
Tracy Williams, I work for an oil field service company. I do hold a real estate license, a home inspection license, both inactive. 2 years ago, I acquired those, started a handyman business, big ideas and big dreams, and then the oil field beckons again, and I return to there until a point I get perhaps enough gumption to jump back out there. In the meantime, I'm just looking for wisdom and knowledge and whatever I can gain to.
If I need to explain gumption to the millennials here.
Guts, fortitude, money.
There you go. Blake.
I'm Blake Lennon with Norman I like to make people laugh and smile, which goes along with my other passion, music, which I'll always be doing. But I'm a real estate investor. I'm an assistant at Ron and Angelina's brokerage. And that's kind of my way to allow me to do my passion, which is make people laugh and smile and have fun with music. So I'm also a saltwater aquarist hobbyist. We used to grow saltwater pools. So talk about that.
Hey, I'm Matt. My day job is a mechanic, beginner real estate investor. It's my, fourth meet up here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whatever I can learn in real estate investing, I'm on it.
I'm Bonnie Day. I'm new here. I'm a certified life coach with Legacy Coaching. I'm also a medical consultant with advanced body scan, and we also save lives through early detection. My passion is not only dancing, but investing in cryptocurrency and gold through tarot cards. So I'm very active if anyone's interested in learning more about cryptocurrencies and gold. Thank you very much. I'm here to learn.
Okay, my name is Ben Day. I own Mindshare Bookkeeping, a virtual bookkeeping and accounting firm for real estate investors. That's 99% of what we do. The goal is to help investors get out of the office and into the field doing what they love, or just, closing deals, taking naps, whatever you need to do other than keeping receipts and counting money all day. Other than that, I'm very interested in real estate. I'm a musician. I went full time doing my bookkeeping a month ago today, actually. So very excited.
We're the crazy group that actually entrepreneurs will clap when you go full time, leave your job.
I quit my job. I don't have steady income anymore.
Well, your friends and family like, what are you gonna do for a job?
Hello, my name is Andrea Adams. I am a nurse right now. I work at the VA. I'm interested in helping women veterans and with them being homeless and helping them find places to live. I haven't done anything with that yet, but that's a passion of mine that I've been thinking about. So if I can glean anything from this on how to get homes and things like that to help them, that would be good.
And I am Andrea's husband, John Adams, originally from Oklahoma. I retired from the Army about a year ago as a military police officer. Right now I work for Edward Jones, and we're all about helping the serious long-term individual investor organize, grow, protect, and transfer their wealth. So I just love it. I just really love the idea of helping people reach their dreams and goals through financial planning.
I'm Dan Myers. I'm an aircraft mechanic by day. Just started investing in October. Got my first deal with a tax sale and Ron's class, and just trying to learn as much as I can and learn how to network and stuff like that.
I'm Soshi. I manage a sales office, and I'm here to gain some knowledge tonight.
I'm Cynthia, and I actually work with Sochi. We work and sell manufactured houses and tiny houses, so we're pretty passionate about affordable. So we're just here to learn more about what you guys do.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm the owner of Medicator. It's a medical day spa. I am also an instructor, and I'm opening my own academy here in Oklahoma in September. I have 5 instructors worldwide that work with my company. I've just created my own skincare line, and I've partnered with 3 doctors here. And I'm here to just, meet people since I've been in the industry for 15 years and I don't get out. So, yeah.
My name is Jeff. My day job is a department manager at Walmart. Previously, before that, I was working with a top producer in real estate. Things went south. So I'm just kind of rebuilding myself back up. What I do in the evenings, I'm a stock investor, but I'm also kind of looking into real estate investing as well.
Hello, my name is Christina, and currently I'm a marketing specialist for the Chamber of Commerce, but I'm also a blogger specialist for different affiliate products. I'm developing websites. That's what I'm doing currently. Thank you.
My name is Andrea West. I'm new. I currently during the day I'm in accounting, but I'm at night creating a fitness apparel line to sell online and in a few stores here locally. So just trying to get some advice and where to start. So.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I work at a full-time job at Paycom, and I'm also a real estate investor. And I'm here to look for is if anybody can manage like 200 emails a day. So basically, I'm setting up a system, just go through all the inbox zeros, so like 205,000 emails that I had. So I cleaned it out. Anyway, that's what I'm looking for.
You know, if you just delete them all, the ones that are important, they'll find you again. Blame it on IT. Oops.
Hi, my name is Cassie. So I've got a couple different hats. I am a part-time behavioral health nurse. I also am a real estate investor, and then I'm a realtor with Spearhead, like Ron Andrew said, as a brokerage who specializes in investment property. So anyone needs help with investments.
I'm Rockford Steele. I am we do commercial residential mortgages in South London. I'm also a licensed realtor with Spearhead Realty. I do that mostly just for myself. My own investment property, and investing in rental property, 4 or 5 years now. Retired financial advisor, and I'm going to be retired from work.
All right, so I'll jump right into the introduction here. We're here to hear Karla Docter talk about unleash the power within and create a life of limitless success. She's the founder and elite life coach for Venture Life Coaching. She'll be sharing her journey through life and some cool stuff coming up here. As a multi-passionate entrepreneur, the obstacles, mistakes, and the wins along the way. She will talk about playing small, facing your fears, and empowering you to live the life you always wanted. To live the life you always wanted, you must know what this looks like. Quit playing small, face your fears, and ask yourself, why not me? She will share the good, the bad, and the ugly truth about not just surviving, but also thriving. Karla walks in her purpose to empower, advocate, educate, and to help others live their dreams. She's living proof that it's not too late to venture out and to begin to live the life you were created for. She has taken her countless traumatic experiences and turned those obstacles into lessons to motivate others. She has learned firsthand how to create more joy, health, and happiness in her life, and wants you to know that you are capable, worthy, strong, intelligent, and you are enough. She is a certified elite life coach, founder of Venture Life Coaching, an advocate for victims of violence, and Stella and stylist. She's a graduate from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Anybody in Milwaukee in here? Nobody? No? In 2005, and a Bachelor in Science in Criminal Justice, minor in Psychology, and Certificate in Forensic Science. You need to tell us what that really means. Where she was born and raised in Milwaukee. 2008, she found her dream job at the YWCA, Oklahoma City, serving as the advocate for those victimized by violence, where she currently serves as a senior legacy officer. She is a certified domestic and sexual violence response professional through the Oklahoma Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. She has a mission to empower others to dream big, walk in their purpose, and create the life they deserve. She was named Journal Record 2017 as Woman Making a Difference, 2015 Achiever Under 40, and by Business Times, 21 Leaders for the 21st Century. She's a graduate leadership admin, class what's that mean? 31, class 31, huh? 31, all right. Roman, that's a long time ago. Roman numerals. Class 31 in Leadership Oklahoma City Loyal Program. Class 13 in her spare time, she volunteers to take part with several organizations, including the Zonda Club of Central Oklahoma, Edmond Area Chamber of Commerce, Edmond Young Professionals Steering Committee, Habitat for Humanity, Oklahoma City's Women Networking Social, and more. How do you find time for this? I'm going to teach us something. She's going to tell us. All right, here we go. Karla is truly living her dream. She's married to her best friend in 2019. Together they have a large American Bulldog named Odin, and will become parents here pretty soon. They love to go to concerts, trying out new restaurants, working out, traveling, especially places with beautiful sunsets and beaches. Everyone, please stand up and give a warm welcome to Karla Docter.
Awesome, thank you. All right, well, thank you so much for the very warm welcome. This is a great group. I'll have to mention that my husband is also in the real estate investing business as well, as I see many of you here have that same passion in mind, and then we all have something else that kind of drives us and moves us. So I'm just gonna kind of talk to you about my journey and how I got to where I am today and why I have all those hats and achievements and things that I've been able to create for myself. Opportunities that did not present themselves so much in Milwaukee because that was not what I was looking for or doing. So I'll just kind of pop in here. So as Ron said, my name is Karla Docter and I'm living the dream. So that's typically like my tagline whenever somebody asks me how I'm doing. I say I'm living the dream, because whether I'm having the worst day of my life or it's the best day of my life, I really know that like mind over matter. So saying that I'm living the dream, that what you focus on, right, will exist and persist. And so I'm all about saying that I'm living the dream. And you know, life can look really awesome on paper, right? Like all that stuff that Ron read, you know, it sounds nice and fluffy, right? But our lives on Facebook may also look really nice and fluffy, right? Do all of you guys, you all post the worst things that happen, right, on Facebook, and it's just like a woe is me, kind of, no, right? So for the most part, like a bio or anything like that, that can be successful if that's what you deem as what's successful to you and what that means to you. But I'm sure all of you have had hardships. Not all of us we're given the same privileges. Not all of us have all of the same rights. Not all of us have had to walk in the shoes of other people, right? And so I want to share with you kind of my journey and what makes me me and what drives me to do all of these things. You know, when it started, I had two loving parents, right? I had the best parents in the whole wide world. And they were high school sweethearts. And they always had this dream to build a log home. And my parents, they worked hard. They were middle class factory workers working hard to provide for my brother and I. But they had this dream and they did it. By the time I graduated high school, we had this plot of land, 20 acres of land in Sheboygan in Wisconsin. So just, you know, if my accent pops out, sometimes when I get real excited, I might, don't you know, I try not to, but I try to suppress it. I've been here for 10 years, so I try to hone it in. But so they had this 20 acres of land, and every weekend they would go up north and they would start working on landscaping and dreaming big. And by the time I graduated, they sold their home in South Milwaukee and moved into the log home that my dad drew the blueprints for. My dad's not an architect. But he learned, and they had a passion and they had a dream. So at a very young age, I had these two inspirational people that could teach me and show me that whatever it is that you want, like it's achievable, that you can create whatever it is. And obstacles and things are gonna come up in life and in business, but it's what you make of those opportunities that's gonna make all of the difference. So they also believed in me. And I've learned a lot of hardships in life. I started my very first unhealthy relationship at the age of 15, right? So you heard in my bio the work that I've done. I do that work for a reason. That unhealthy relationship led to many other unhealthy relationships and a decade of traumas, depression, bad decisions, life and death experiences, and tears, lots and lots of tears. But my most pivotal moment actually happened on a cold, foggy morning back in 2006, just before my 24th birthday. And I was driving home and I could barely see like the road in front of my car while I was driving. And So imagine my surprise when I see blue and red lights flashing in my rearview mirror. And I was terrified. Like Ron said, I went to school, criminal justice, psychology, forensic science. When I grow up, I want to be CSI. And this was before CSI was a TV show, so I'm going to age myself there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if I get pulled over and I get a DUI, my career is over. And after failing the sobriety test, I was taken to the station. My chances of becoming a police officer became pretty slim. And I was embarrassed and ashamed. And, you know, I had to confess this to my parents. I had this trip to Mexico planned that was going to be a lot more binge drinking, which I then did not go. But I had to take this alcohol assessment. And so I was very honest. I'm like, you know what? I'm 23 years old. I live in Milwaukee. Do you know what we do in Milwaukee, guys? We drink. We drink a lot of beer. We eat a lot of cheese. Yes, yes. Go Packers. We watch a lot of football. So, and all of those things happen at the same time. So I was honest. I'm like, you know, I'm just graduated college. I have a bar every night of the week. Like, they may or may not know me there. I'm also a bartender and waitress. And, you know, I thought that was normal. Apparently, this lady did not. And I was ordered to go to group counseling. So I was in this group counseling class, and it was, I think I was maybe one of two women in this whole entire group. And our counselor had tasked us with an assignment where we had to ask one of our friends that we partied with what we were like when we used. So there was a handful of people that were there for a DUI. There were some there for meth addiction. There were some there for coke, all different substance abuse. And that question really scared the crap out of me because I was really embarrassed of that person that I had become. I did not love that person and the decisions that I make and the actions that I took. I became that girl. And we all know who that girl is. I became her. I'd laugh, I'd cry, I was out of control, dancing here, dancing there, doing my thing. I had a lot of fun. Drunk Karla was pretty unstoppable. And I remember, as I was like remembering and thinking back to this person that I had become, thinking like, how the heck did I get here? Because I became really good at like regulating my drinking because I got sick once. I got sick one time from drinking when I was 15. And I vowed that that would be the last time that that ever happened because it was a really brutal experience. And so then I built up this really great tolerance. And so I'm thinking like, how the heck did I get to this place where I became this person that I did not love and I was just completely out of control? And I did some reflection on the last 10 years and looked at, okay, so was it all of the consistent emotional, verbal, physical, sexual abuse that I had endured? No, that wasn't it. It wasn't being chased down the park by a strange man. It wasn't when I rescued my downstairs neighbor from her boyfriend when he was chasing her down the street with a machete. It wasn't when I was robbed and held at gunpoint. And then it hit me. The day, the moment that changed everything for me. So to this group of mostly men, a lot of them were gang members. I was definitely not amongst my peers, so to speak. And I very tearfully shared the most intimate details of the worst thing that had ever happened to me. And it was a sexual assault by one of my closest male friends in college. And you know, that trauma was then further compounded when I came home to tell my roommate what had happened. And she's like, are you sure? So I wrapped it up in this pretty little box and shoved it deep down inside of me and thought, heck, if my best friend doesn't believe me, who would? So I'm just not gonna tell anybody. And what I didn't know at the time is that you can't just like forget things that happen like this, like traumatic events when they happen, your mind, your body, your spirit like remembers all of those things. But I didn't know that. I just thought I can just pretend, just go on my day-to-day as if it never happened, and things will be fine. It'll be good. And in that process, you know, I repressed a lot of good things too. I have a really awful, like, short-term memory. I have a really hard time with names. I know I met a bunch of you, and I could maybe say some of the names, but I don't. Well, and you guys all told your names, so some of you, I even heard it 2 or 3 times. It's very difficult for me for that short-term memory. Like, I have to take notes for everything. And you know, I forget childhood memories. Like, I don't remember a lot of things from when I was a kid. I don't remember movies. They're like, sure, just the other day, I was talking about doing a gender reveal party, and my friend's like, oh yeah, I think they did something like that in Princess Diaries. You've seen that, right? And I was like, I don't know, probably. It sounds like a movie that I probably, you know, should have seen. I probably have, maybe even twice, but I couldn't even tell you, right? So little things like that. But in reality, I was drinking to cope, and I was drinking to repress all of these things because I thought if I, you know, just didn't feel that unstoppable Karla that came out when I was drinking, didn't feel all of those things that I had been trying to hold on. So that was my aha moment, and I shared this to this group of individuals, and the counselor approached me after class and said, Karla, I just want you to know that took a lot of strength, a lot of courage to share that with this group. And that was the first time that somebody ever told me that I was strong, or like that I felt strong. And so that moment kind of changed things for me, because I'm like, okay, so I do have the power within me to make a difference. I do have the power to share my story. I do have something else here, right? So I was on the right path. I quit drinking. And I actually quit drinking for about 7 years. I started drinking again before I got married. But I was a sober bartender, and it was really just abusing alcohol. It wasn't alcohol addiction, but it was really just using that as my coping mechanism. And in the summer of 2006, so that was in the spring, so a couple months later, you know, I was still trying for all of these physical agility tests for law enforcement. And I had this kind of aha moment as I'm reflecting back on like what changed in the moment and the events that had happened to me that had made me drink so bad. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get some books on domestic violence and sexual assault. So I skipped out on this physical agility test, and I went to the library and got some books, went to my favorite little restaurant where I could, you know, drink a pot of coffee. And one of the regulars from the bar that I bartended at, she came in and she always called me Angel, and I never understood why. She's like, oh, thank you, Angel, you're such an angel. And I'm like, okay, you're weird, but cool. And she started asking me about what all these books were. And I said, you know, I'm telling her about my newfound epiphany, and I'm all excited. And she goes, see, Karla, you really are an angel. And I was like, huh, okay. And I pack all my things up because now I got to go get ready for work. And I walk out to my car, and in front of my driver's side door of my car, there was something on the ground. And I picked it up, and it was a 2007 calendar. And on the cover, it said, Angels on Earth. And I was like, what the heck? Like freaking out, like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm on the right path. I need to look more into this. This is my calling. This is what I need to be learning, need to be gleaning on. And so I got it. I got the signs, right? I needed to kind of open my eyes, be a little bit more aware, clear my head a little bit, and be open to receive what it is that the universe is telling us, these signs and things on when we're on the right path and when we're not. And I thought, okay, so I experienced all of these things so that I can help others who have also experienced pain and suffering, and to change the ideas and attitudes around domestic violence and sexual assault so that the system doesn't blame individuals for this type of violence happening to them. So I started applying at shelters back home in Milwaukee. No response. I applied to volunteer at a shelter with a resume, cover letter, filled out their little application 3 times over the course of a year and a half. And by the 3rd time, I actually got a call back. I'm like, I have a college degree, like I'm a good human being, like why aren't they calling me? And it was tempting to almost give up, right? Like when you get rejected so many times or something, that deal doesn't go through so many times, like you can only handle it so many times before you're like, okay, well maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. But I was encouraged, like, okay, just keep pushing, keep pushing. And finally, that 3rd time, I get a call back. And I go in for my volunteer interview, and I'm like, yes, this is my heart, this is my passion, this is what I want to do. And, what are my chances of getting a job here? And she's like, well, and I was like, really? Crushed. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show them. So the training is very intensive when you're working with survivors of violence. And so I was going back, it was day 3 of 4, full day training. And that very same person came up to me at the beginning of class that 3rd day and said, Karla, you know what you're talking about. I love your heart. I can hear your passion. You know your stuff. We're always hiring for relief staff in shelter. Would that be a position that you're interested in? I'm like, I don't care what the position is. I'll clean toilets. Like, I'm in. And so she got me an interview with the director. I was hired for the relief staff position. And before I was done with my training in the relief staff position, a regular shift opened up and they offered it to me. And all within a month, I was told, slim to none, to all of these other things just kind of falling in line. So you really can't give up. Don't give up. Like if you know in your heart and in your gut that this is the path that you're supposed to be doing, the business that you're supposed to pursue, listen to that, trust that, and don't stop. So I finally had my life all figured out. I was working there for about a year, and I was finally in a healthy, happy relationship with someone who actually believed in me and encouraged me. And I was doing what I love to do, and he decided that he wanted to go to law school. And I'm like, cool, like you supported me through like my volunteer application journey, right? Trying to get into shelter. I'm like, yeah, sure, cool, you do you. He's like, cool, I'm gonna apply in Oklahoma. And I'm like, why? What's in Oklahoma? I mean, I've spent 26 years of my life in Milwaukee, like all my friends, all my family, all my everything. And he wanted to go to Oklahoma. And I said, okay, I'm not gonna move for a boy, but if I get this job at the YWCA, then I'll go. And it was the Crisis Advocacy Services Coordinator. Is the worst title in the whole wide world to say. And I was their very first phone interview and hire. And 10 years later, I get to serve for the next week as their senior legacy officer. He's an attorney. We're all grown up, and we have our home and a 92-pound fur child. And in January, we're gonna expand our family and have a human, which is super scary. And this has been my dream job, and this has been my heart and my passion, and it's always going to be a part of my heart and my passion and my purpose. However, sometimes the hardest things that we need to do are often the things that we need to do most. And my job's pretty stressful. And with new kind of life circumstances that are happening, I kind of need a little break, and an opportunity presented itself. Somebody actually sought me out for a position at the Edmond Chamber of Commerce, and so, which really aligns with where I'm going with my coaching business. And so I always tell myself, I'm like, I'm not gonna quit my job to go work for another person. I'm gonna quit my job because my coaching business took off and I just need to spend all of my time and focus on that, or I have a baby. And so it's kind of like, you're only thrown so many life rafts when you feel like you've been drowning for so long. And I don't know the true story, but there was a story about this guy who was, calling to God and like, God save me, God save me. He's out in the middle of the water, and this tugboat comes up, and offers to help this guy, and he says, no, no, no. And another one comes along and he denies them too. And another one comes along and he denies them. And then he dies and he goes and meets the big guy at the gates or big woman or whoever it is that you worship. And it's like, come on, man, like, what happened? Like, why didn't you save me? It's like, I gave you 3 chances. Like, I gave you 3 opportunities to get out of your current situation and you didn't take them. And that's kind of how I felt with how all of these things were kind of being aligned, that if I don't hop on this life raft right here, like, I might drown, and I need to do what's best for me. Although it crushed me on Monday to tell my boss of 10 years that I'm breaking up with her. But I said, I'm still going to be a board member. I'm still going to be a volunteer. Like, still, like, put me in, coach, because I love the YWCA. I love what it is that they do for the community and the services. So that's always going to be part of my why. Part of my why for building my coaching business was because I have this story to share about overcoming these things and being able to inspire and empower so many other people. I get messages all the time that are like, Karla, thank you so much. You really helped me through this tough time. I had no idea that they were going through a tough time, but they're like, but I thought of you. My girlfriend texted me the other day. She had breast cancer and went through all this stuff and then got in another awful relationship. And she knows the dynamics of abusive relationships. And even when you know those dynamics, you can still get in unhealthy relationships. And she's like, I just looked through, my phone and thought, who is my warrior woman? And she thought of me, right? Like, that's why I do what I do. That's why I started coaching. That's why I want to share my message. That's why I want to educate other people and help them get to where it is that they want to go. And this new opportunity at the chamber, I'm building a membership site because I know that time is very limited. And so I want to help more people than just on the one-on-one situation. So I will be the membership director at the Edmond Chamber as I am building my membership site, right? So it's kind of the pieces fall together. So 3 years ago is actually when I started really honing in on that there's something more and that I needed to start this coaching business, because there's this beautiful, talented, giving, phenomenal human being who passed away in her late 30s. And I'm sure all of us have lost somebody a little too soon. And her passing really made me do some deep reflection. And it made me start thinking about, like, this woman left a legacy. And I'm thinking, who am I? And what would my impact be? If I were to leave tomorrow, like, would I have made a difference in this world? Would anything have changed? Like, would I have made somebody's day? Like, what would that be? And I know that it's, like, morbid to think about, but that's what drove me to understand my deeper underlying passion, right? Like, we want to earn money for things or to do things, but ultimately we want to make a difference, right? When you're thinking about why you started your business, why you want to help homeless veteran women, why you want to create affordable housing, like, when you think about those things, like, what's the underlying reason behind that? How are you serving these other people and leading with your why in your business? Because ultimately, like, that's what's going to help you succeed, and that's what's going to help you communicate and connect with your ideal clients and your future customers. So because I've always been the helping, serving person, and I didn't want to die with my story inside of me. And I knew that it was super scary. I mean, even to share with you guys, my story, that it's super scary to get vulnerable and share these types of things, like, oh no, here comes that lady who's gonna talk about domestic violence and sexual assault. Like, but that's me. I love you guys, sorry. But I have a story that's larger, and I have a keynote speech inside of me, and I have a book inside of me that's waiting to happen, and I can't let that die with me. So being able to share and tell somebody that you're not alone and that you are supported and that you can do anything it is that you want to do and that, you know, you can be unstoppable. And I think that that's really my key mission. So we talk about scary things and scary things that we've done. You know, moving to Oklahoma, right? So quitting my job last week, or this week, technically 4 days ago, while pregnant. Let's talk about the tears, y'all. It was real. So that was super scary. And then moving to Oklahoma, to a land where I knew nobody, with just me and my boyfriend at the time, to go live life, and Lord knows what's in Oklahoma, right? I will tell you, I love Oklahoma. We made a deal. I said, okay, look, 6 months in, if I don't like it here, promise me you'll apply at like Marquette and Madison. And he said, okay, deal. And 6 months in, he came up to me and said, okay, so what do you think? Stay, go? I was like, I don't want to go back there. Like, Oklahoma, y'all are my people. I mean, you don't have, you know, the sandy beaches that I require, but I can go visit those anytime. So we've made Oklahoma our home. But again, those scary things turn out to be the best things, because had I have not moved here 10 years ago, I would probably still be working at a bar, right? Like nothing sexier than like a 35-year-old, you know, bartender for life. You make really good money. I made really good money bartending, but it's not really the lifestyle for a family, for me anyways. But yeah, so we cannot let fear of failure or fear of success. It's another thing that's like really kind of held me back, is that fear of success. Not so much like with my job, I really limited myself with my coaching business because I was fearful that I would have to quit. Like I was fearful that if I did this thing and like it blew up and I'd spend all of this time helping other people and I'd have to quit my other job. So I would self-sabotage, right? I would do these like self-limiting behaviors to try to create trauma so that I wouldn't succeed. And just know that like we are the one thing that stands in our way 95% of the time. That's not a legit statistic. That's just mine, so don't quote me on that. But I would say that the majority of the time, we are the ones that hold ourselves back. And sometimes you just have to take that leap of faith. And, you know, that's one of my favorite things is having faith, is that like knowing that when you step out into the darkness, out of all of the light that you know, and you step into the darkness, that one of two things will happen. One, you'll have something sturdy to stand on, or you'll grow wings and fly. And so taking these chances and believing in yourself and facing that fear, having a little faith, will get you there. Because if you look back on your life, all of you have had hardships. We've all had challenges. We've all had things that if we went back and we're like, crap, you know what? Like, you're right. I did overcome this thing. And guess what? You didn't die, right? Because you're here right now, right? So what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the best case scenario? What happens if you don't do anything? You're stuck in the same place that you were right now. Don't make me come back here next year and see where all of you are in your business and you're all still doing the same thing at the same level that you were before, right? What would that feel like? Failure. The dreaded F word. Yeah. What does it like feel like in your gut? Like if I told you a year from now, I'm going to see all of you and you didn't do crap with your business. You had to get a full-time job again. I just like punched you, didn't I? Yeah. It's pretty brutal, right? So we got to do something. So sometimes by asking like, hey, what if it would work out? Like what if you believed in yourself and it did kind of work out? That'd be quite the concept, right? I created a just kind of 7 limitless success principles that I handed out to you all, and my contact information's at the bottom as well. But I just wanted to kind of quickly go through.
Any pins?
What? Oh, look at that.
We need pins.
You're so good to us, Ron.
Angela took care of that. She's on top of stuff, not me. Any more pins? Money? I'll take some money. Any more pins? Everyone's good?
All right. So the first step in creating limitless success is defining what the heck success looks like to you, right? Because what it looks like to you and me and you is completely different. And so really thinking about, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What experiences are you able to have, right? Like, are you traveling? Are you providing for your family? Is it a certain goal that you have, a certain number? I like to think about weight loss. I've been one of those people who forever, up and down, up to 200, back down to 135, back up and down. And finally, for the last 3-4 years, I've actually figured out how to not do that anymore. It's crazy. But when you're on that journey, you think that it's a number that you're looking for. You're like, I want to be 125, or I want to be under 200, right? Whatever it is, you think about this number. But it's not really about that number, right? When you hop on the scale, does your scale say, wow, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're strong, you're talented, you're worthy? No, you hop on the scale and you're like, screw you. You don't know me, right? The number doesn't define who you are. So what is it really that you want? It's not necessarily a number, it's a feeling, right? You want to feel good in your skin, you want to feel confident, you don't want to, slouch or hunch over. You want to be able to walk into a place without thinking, oh, everybody's judging me. You want to be able to go and eat what it is that you want to eat without people judging you, right? What is it really? So when you think about what it is that success looks like to you, what is it really? It's not just a number, but if you make that amount, right? So if your number is, I want to be a 6-figure business owner, but what is it that you're going to do with that money? Are you going to play music, right? Who are you going to help? What are you going to be able to do? What contributions in this world, right? So what does that really look like? So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about why it's important, right? So I shared a lot about my why and why I do what it is that I do. So why is it important for you to serve? Why is it important for you to make that amount of money? Who's going to be positively impacted? The community, your family, support systems. You're going to be able to get your husband or your wife out of that job, right? What is it that having said level of income will do for you? And what does that mean, even? The second step is checking your mindset. This is all about your mindset. Remember, I started I'm living the dream, right? Because that's where my mindset is. When I was down, right, those 10 years of binge drinking and all those things, I saw everything on the ground, right? When you're down, when you're at your lowest peak, you see every pebble, every rock, every stone, everything, right? If you look at the floor from this angle, it looks pretty clean. But if you got down on the floor and you look down, you're like, oh yeah, there's this and this and this, and you start nitpicking on stuff, right? So check your mindset. Are you looking for something to nitpick at? Are you looking for something to be negative? Because if you are, you're gonna find it. Trust me, right? So often, we talk about, I said before, about this upper limiting myself and not allowing myself to have success, or how we like, another version of that is kind of this self-sabotage that we sometimes feel like we can't have a happy, healthy marriage and a successful career. That you have to sacrifice one or the other, right? So when things start going good, then all of a sudden you start getting into a fight with your partner all the time, or you know, things are going really good in your relationship, but then like crap falls apart at work. Because in our minds, somehow deep down, we don't feel like we kind of deserve to have all the things. But you do. You do deserve it. And so when you start to kind of get down that path, look into that and see, okay, is this real? Am I making this up? My husband used to call me out on this all the time. Like I was always used to like starting a fight, because that was like a normal, healthy relationship for me, was like arguing all the time. And he's like, are we play fighting right now? I was like, oh, you're right. Like we are. So smart. I'm gonna marry you, sucker. So, but yes, so checking your mindset. Believe in yourself. Check your beliefs. Again, if you're looking for negative, you're gonna find it. Declare what it is that you really want and say it out loud. There's so much power in saying what it is that you want. Coaching is so great, because when you work with somebody, that we don't tell you what to do, right? Like if I came in and was like, okay, what you need to do is X, Y, and Z. As soon as I say that 4-letter word, you're like, you don't know me. You don't know my situation. I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I can't do this, and you come up with all the excuses. But if I ask you a question and you tell me that you need to, and you're like, well, what I really need to do is, right? So there's power in saying it out loud, and you declaring it, and you taking ownership of it. Yes, speaking it into existence. Visualizing it. So I don't know if this might be too woo-woo for some of you, but actually like visualizing it, having a vision board. On my vision board, I had my vision board body, where I actually like took my head and put it on somebody else's body. And then I got it. And then in the bottom right-hand corner was me getting pregnant. And guess what? Now I'm pregnant. And it was like legit, like in a month, like I hit vision board body and then got pregnant the next month, because I was looking at that every day. Don't tell my husband. But actually visualizing it. Visualizing your success. So when you think about what success looks like, it's so important to play that in your mind, right? Like closing your eyes and just thinking about like what it would be to have and to do and to serve and to be able to do all these things, that if you visualize it, oftentimes people will journal about their future selves as if it's happening right now. So something to journal would be, like, I just closed a $100,000 client on this package, or I just did this, or I just started, my skincare line and it's blown up and now I have to get a larger warehouse, right? Like, so what are your real problems when you get real successful in your business? And actually start like writing that out and speaking that into existence. I received a check today for X amount of dollars. And just thinking about that, because you'll put that into existence. Eliminating your self-limiting beliefs. So thinking about all the reasons why something won't work for you, and really thinking about the reasons why they will. Having an attitude of gratitude. So it's really hard to be upset when you're grateful. And so one of the things that I do is I keep a list of things that I'm grateful for, so that when I'm grouchy, and I have a feeling that I might be grouchy more often now in the next 6 more months, and maybe for life. But having something to go and to look at real quick, like to do my affirmations and to state my gratitudes and what I'm grateful for. Because when you start saying like, I'm grateful for the oxygen that I'm breathing, I'm grateful for this space, I'm grateful for the ability to walk, right? And then you start getting deeper and you're like, I'm grateful for the opportunity to create X, Y, and Z, and oh man, that feels so great, and oh, then I feel this, right? It's really hard to think about like, oh yeah, this client just blew me off, or when you're in a funk. So when you get in a funk, it's a really easy mindset shift to look into your gratitudes. Recognizing those fears too, are they real or perceived? The third principle I have is create a winning routine. So a lot of these things are some things that I've already said by stating gratitudes, intentions, affirmations. So I am is like one of the most powerful statements that you can say. I am successful. I am fearless. I am limitless. I am strong. I am courageous. I am likable. Gosh darn it, and people like me, right? Y'all saw that Saturday Night Live. Like, they were onto something. We can joke about it, but it's so true. And saying that I am statement and saying it out loud gives it so much power. So having your I am statements. Another good thing is finding a way to recharge. So for me, like, I love to meditate, and really it's like just sitting for 5 minutes and breathing, right? A lot of people are like, I can't meditate because I can't turn my brain off. Like, nobody can turn your brain off. But meditation helps you recognize thoughts and then refocus on something else. So that when things do get crazy, you can recognize the crazy, but still take some breaths. Because what happens is when we're scared or we're anxious, we start doing this like super shallow breathing right here in our chest. Well, if we're not getting enough oxygen into our blood and cycling through, it affects our decisions and our ability to make good decisions. So breathing when in a stressful situation, like a deep belly breath, actually puts that oxygen and helps you think clearer and make better decisions. So if you're not into meditation, like going for a walk in nature is meditative, right? Just like kind of just being where it is that you are. Or take a nap if you're a nap person. I like naps too. Eating healthy. What it is that you put in your system is what you're gonna get in output for your work, right? So if you eat garbage all day long, you're gonna feel like garbage. So that was one of the things basically on my big healthy journey and finding my happy feeling of weight was really just like, I knew and could recognize a difference in the way that I perform, in the way that I think, and the way that I speak when I'm eating mac and cheese and Doritos and frozen pizza, which was my go-to when I was depressed and like couldn't fit into anything in my closet. The first thing you want to go for is the pizza and Doritos dipped in queso. I never did that. Finding movement and or exercise. So finding something that you like to do, being physical. Stay hydrated. Water, water, water. That is huge. That also helps you. If you have a hard time waking up and getting started in the morning, chug a glass of water. So I keep my big giant tumbler cup in the bathroom next to my alarm clock, because I'm one of those people, like I have to like get out of bed and turn off my alarm clock because otherwise it just gets snoozed. So I do that, I get up, and then I take a drink of water because you dehydrate yourself essentially while you're sleeping. So one of the things that will quickly rejuvenate yourself is by drinking water. So water is important. Planning tomorrow today. So tonight, you know, what is it that you got tomorrow? What are your top priorities for tomorrow? What's most important? I like to, you know, meal prep or plan wardrobe things, right? When I get home from work, I know that I'm more successful that when I get home from work and I take off my work clothes, that I plan tomorrow's outfit while I'm awake and I have the moment, I have the time to do it, versus first thing in the morning when I'm running late or behind and I tried on everything in my closet and nothing fits. I know some of you women might know what that's like. And then you have like this big pile of clothes like on the bed that you're like, I'm gonna have to get to you later because now I'm late for work. That it would take me like 30, 45 minutes to like, it's stupid, I know this. We all have our things, don't judge me. But planning a day in advance can definitely be helpful. Just like meal prepping, if you, the night before, fix your lunch for the next day or snacks or whatever it is, just planning in advance will really help, because when you get through the day, our willpower kind of like dwindles and we start off really healthy in the morning, but because we were running late and we didn't plan our lunch, we're gonna go run through the drive-through someplace or go make less healthier decisions as the day goes on. And then getting plenty of sleep, kind of important. Number 4 is doing the work. So starting someplace, do something, right? Just pick something. Life is one big giant experiment, right? We are never for certain what is to come in the next minute, right? Like this moment is the only thing that I'm certain of is this moment right now. But 5 minutes ago, I don't have control over it. 5 minutes from now, I have no control over. A tornado could happen, right? It's Oklahoma, anything can happen. So what is it that might be the best place for you to start? Right? We get so caught up in our heads and it's such a perfectionist little thing that we're like, but what if this isn't the one thing that I'm supposed to start? We don't know until we try it, right? And we try it, and if it works, cool, right? You're on the right path. Or if it doesn't work, then what are we gonna learn? What are we gonna do differently next time? Reassess and reevaluate. So just finding something and going with that idea and starting there. Blocking and scheduling time. If it's not on the calendar, it might not happen, right? Just like you're working out and meal prepping and planning the calendar and your meditations and all these things, because life is going to throw all of these other demands at you that if you don't have it planned and you don't have it scheduled, it's likely not going to happen. Especially for those that kind of work at home, just kind of having the freeness, not having a boss that's like holding you accountable. Like that's tough. Your clients are essentially your bosses, but you don't have somebody like, you don't have outputs. You don't have these little ticks that you have to mark off. So you're like, oh, well, you know, I can do this, and I might just watch TV a little bit, and I'm gonna go take the dog for a walk, and next thing you know, the whole day's gone, and you're like, crap, what the heck did I do?
You talk about me.
No. You're like, I'm gonna post on social media, and 2 hours later, right? That's never happened. Blocking it and scheduling it. If you only had 30 minutes to do this posting on social media and give you a quick little stroll, set that timer for 30 minutes so that you know, okay, now I have to get back to actually something that's going to bring me income, right? A task will expand to the time you allot it. So if you don't give it an end time, that 2 hours on Facebook or Instagram, it's gonna happen. And also know that it doesn't have to be perfect to get started, right? Put out that first draft and then really look at it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And a dull pencil still writes just as well as a super sharp pencil. Don't give up. Remember why it is that you are doing this. Invest in yourself, right? If we are not learning, then we're dead, right? So continue to invest in yourself, in your knowledge. You know, is that purchasing books or listening to something on Audible or podcasts, coming to workshops like you are today. So yay, you're living. Woohoo. Yep. Yay, one person's excited. Awesome. Investing in courses, memberships, coaching, those types of things. So increasing your knowledge. Finding an accountability partner, right? So that's especially good for us business owners, is finding somebody who's gonna hold us accountable. So when I say I'm gonna create this thing, or I'm gonna reach out to this many people, to have somebody say, hey, how many calls did you make today? Right, being that boss without having to be that boss. And then investing in support and encouragement and mentorship and support like this, and finding other fellow entrepreneurs to know that your struggles are real and that we all go through something very, very similar. So keep investing in yourself. Enhance your surroundings, and this is your physical surroundings as well as kind of your mental and spiritual surroundings. So decluttering your space, right? I'm a clutterer, but I know that like when my space is clean and it's all just joyful and lovely, that I'm so much more productive. So maybe what is it in your workspace or in your home that you might need to declutter, but that also goes for our minds, right? If we don't ever get all of this stuff that's going and all of these wonderful and fabulous ideas in our minds ever out onto paper, then that's gonna clog you up. So when you're planning, like do a brain dumping session, like just get all of those ideas out of your head. And you know, I do this, I have like this whole like calendar that I've created to have a space to brain dump. And you think that you have all of these things that you need to do, but like when I go back and actually look at them and do like my weekly review, none of that stuff really matters. But like if I didn't get it out and it would just kind of filter and circle, and then you can't sleep and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this because I have to do all these millions of things that are in my head, but none of them are really important. So get that clutter out. And then think about your surroundings, the people that you surround yourself with. So Jim Rohn's, one of my favorite quotes is, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay? So think about the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and where are they on kind of their success path? Are they killing it and crushing it? Are they, you know, successful? Would they consider themselves successful? Are they good human beings? Do they contribute to the world? Are they making a difference? And where are you on that scale? Are you the best, most successful person on that scale? Or are you the least? You want to be the least. You don't want to be the smartest person on campus, because guess what? Then you can't learn from them. You don't grow. You can share and mentor with them, but they're bringing you down. So investing in your circle, look at who it is that you would want to hang out with. Hang out with the person who's doing the thing that you want to do, because they can guide you. And so your circle is going to change. And I'm sure most of you have experienced in the entrepreneurial world, like your friends and family, they don't always come with you on this journey. They don't always get it. They don't always support it. So finding people who do can be so, so valuable for your mental health as well as your business. So up-level the people you surround yourself with. And then the 7th success principle is contribution. So contribute and serve to others. That the one thing that brings the most fulfillment in life is contributing to make the world a better place. Like to give back, to do something is what the majority of people will say brings them the most fulfillment in life. And so how are you contributing? Reflect on that and see maybe what you could do better, what you need to do more of, how you can help other people. Maybe provide that as well. If you have a hard time, I know a lot of you had talked about what your passions are and kind of what fuels you and what drives you. But like, what injustices do you see in this world that make you upset? What can you influence? Who can you support? Who can you become an ally with and help, right? Where can you volunteer? So it doesn't have to just be like giving money, right? I've realized that while working with survivors is a huge passion of mine, it doesn't have to be how I earn my income, right? I can still help people without having to work there. So is it volunteering? Is it sharing? Is it empowering? What is it? If you have a special skill, like going and helping a group and doing a volunteer project, one night out of the year, whatever it is. And then always give more than you take. And especially when it comes to like networking groups and entrepreneurial groups, give. On Facebook, don't just be the person always taking, scrolling through all of the posts and then just gathering all of the information out of it. If you want to grow your network and you want to expand, give, share tips, share inspiration. Somebody posts a question, say, you know what? this is what I've done in the past. I hope it helps, right? And then the next person will write. That it often starts a chain once one person responds, but give more than it is that you take to help leave that legacy. So you all have the principle. So we're defining what success looks like. We're checking our mindset. We're looking at our winning routine. We're going to do the work. We're going to invest in ourselves. We're going to enhance our surroundings and up-level our circle and contribute and serve others. And then most importantly, enjoy the journey, because we're only given one shot at this beautiful thing called life that we're technically consciously aware of. And so what's it all for at the end of the day? Right? If all you do is work, and you're doing 60, 70 hours a week to put that paycheck, to bring that money in the bank, but then you never go on a trip and you don't help anybody, and you don't ever see your family, and actually you're cranky and ornery and all these things, what is it for at the end of the day if you don't enjoy it? So find some joy and enjoy the journey. And that, my friends, I could talk about this stuff for days. If you'd like to learn more, I have a free download on my website, which is venturelifecoaching.com/ideal, and it should be at the bottom of those worksheets. So you can go there, and it's creating your ideal day. And so it's actually like a worksheet that talks you through like actually journaling out and kind of just blocking the time to say, okay, what is it that I want to feel in this world? How do I want to make a contribution? How do I want this? What do I want to feel like when I wake up? Who am I waking up next to? You know, what are those surroundings? And really kind of just creating that ideal lifestyle that you're looking for. It's a worksheet, and then there's also a video and an audio recording as well, kind of walking you through that whole entire process. And just remember, guys, you are strong, you are capable, and you are worthy of living your dream and having limitless success. Thank you so much.
We have some time for Q&A.
Yeah.
Questions from the audience? Any quick questions?
So you left your last position recently, 10 years, for a challenge, a new challenge. Is that your motivation to do that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. So part of it is less stress, but yes, it's going to be a whole new challenge because when I started at the Y, I was the Crisis Advocacy Services Coordinator. So I was the director over the Sexual Assault Hospital Advocacy Program, on call 24/7. And then with my criminal justice background, I was like, I want to be over the forensics program too. So then when an opportunity presented itself, I said, hey, what if I supervise that position too? And then it was like one less person that had to answer to you because you're really overworked. They totally went for it. Sweet. And then I was eventually able to replace myself and then oversaw all of the sexual assault programs. So prevention, forensics, advocacy, grew my team from 2. We had a total of 3 sexual assault staff in the entire agency. And now we have, I think, 15 sexual assault staff in the last 10 years. So I think for me, it's like I have done what I have done, and it's ready for somebody else to take it to the next level, you know? And so like being able to walk away and kind of just let somebody else's, you know, fresh ideas kind of take over that scene, while I can then do that in a new role and in a new capacity, because the skills that I will learn at the chamber working with professional and personal development. So when I look at my coaching business, what it's all about is really like looking in and doing that professional personal development, networking, and then the membership and sales and retention and all of those additional skills that I need on the business side of things for my coaching business.
You have the freedom to make a decision that gives you freedom to pursue your dream.
Mm-hmm. To continue, yeah. You know, because our dreams come in phases. You know, what I was doing, like that was the dream, right? Yeah, for that season. And now it's on to the next chapter. Absolutely. Yes.
Do you think that with everything that happened to you, is that what motivated you to start, like helping other people, with domestic violence, sexual abuse, like the things that didn't happen to you? Would you still have had that passion, or did you really just want to?
I think experiencing it firsthand. I think for me, at such a young age, at 15, that was like what was defined as what a relationship was. And I thought, well, my parents are healthy, happy, but they're high school sweethearts, and this was my high school sweetheart. And so I thought, well, maybe this is what it's like, but like behind closed doors, like that maybe this is normal, because I didn't know any different. And so for me, a large part of that passion was that I had no idea that services like this existed when I was going through it. I didn't have the support systems in place. I was too afraid to talk about it. I was too afraid to share. And so, and other people saw it and didn't do anything. And so that was kind of like something. And now that I know better, and when I got those books and I started reading about it, and I finally had terminology to coincide with what it was that I had experienced, and I had a word to put to it, it was like, oh, this makes so much sense. And so the resiliency that I feel like I've built up, that I've had with those experiences, it's one of the most beautiful things in the world, like to go to the hospital and to be with somebody in like their worst moment, and to look them in the eyes and say, you're not alone and you can get through this. Trust me. I don't share my experience, but to look them in the eyes and say, it's possible. Healthy relationships are possible. I'd hang out in the smoking section with our shelter residents, right? And they look at me and they see, I dress decently or whatever. And they're like, girl, you don't know. And I was like, I didn't always look like this. I didn't always behave like this either, right? We all have a story to share. And so that helped me connect with them to say, look, you can have all of this. You can have this, but you can have yours, and to let them know that that's possible, because that's such a big thing that I feel like if I would have known that, I'm all about prevention, right? Let's prevent all of this garbage from happening. We'll throw lots of money, I'll get on a soapbox about throwing lots of money at fixing and doing the mental health and crisis service work versus trying to prevent it all from happening in the first place. But yeah, that totally motivated me, because I know that there are so many other people that are suffering that don't have words for what it was that they had experienced, or feel like they're the only person who's gone through it. And so if I can be a vehicle to help people get that glimpse of hope and stop looking at the ground and look up, then my life was worthwhile. Anybody else?
What were some of the specific reasons that got you into life coaching when you had your path and your life, your dream job, and all those things that you're doing? What led to you wanting to become a life coach? Any specific about that?
It was really just about making a larger impact. So when working at the Y and working with clients, I started doing the one-on-one client work, and then I slowly moved myself. I promoted myself out of working one-on-one with people. And so something that I really missed was having those aha moments, being able to have the conversations, seeing the head nods, while it was great, empowering my team and building the team to do the work and raising $3 million in federal grants and doing those stupid grant reports, doing that, but really being able to see and to have those conversations. So something, one of the million reasons why I love coaching is being able to help facilitate that change in that conversation and that shift in somebody versus just the kind of the behind the scenes work. So that was one of the things I really missed, the conversations and the interactions, which is why I would go hang out in the smoking section, to go kind of just inspire somebody for the day. And so that being part of it, and then two, the fact that I have this story to share, and it's so much more than what I shared with you all today. And I needed an opportunity and a venue to do that outside of my agency. That's my story to share. And so I needed an outlet to be able to share those vulnerable details as me, not as my company. Yes?
Being that everything that you've done, you've accomplished so far, God forbid, if you were to, pass tomorrow, would you say you'd be happy today at what you've accomplished so far with the people you've helped and reached out and resources and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I know that I've given it all that I could. Would I want to do more? Absolutely. But as far as my accomplishments, being named whatever, that's not what I'm working for. What I'm working for is you all. If I gave you an idea or an inspiration that can help you in your business, that's what I'm looking for. If I can give somebody hope or empower them or inspire them that they deserve better than what they have right now, then yes, absolutely. And so long as I continue to do that every day, I do Facebook Lives all the time. So on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Venture Life Coaching. If you want to have further communications, you can send me a direct message there or email me. Again, I go live pretty regularly there and just kind of have continued conversations about time management and, I had a really crappy day, and these are some things that help me to get out of my funk, or, random things, or if there's something that anybody wants to learn more about, I love teaching on there too. And so if somebody was like, hey, you talk about journaling all the time, how do I journal? And so I did a Facebook Live on journaling prompts. So it's just kind of another venue in which I can help serve and teach. So check it out. Awesome.
Reach you at this, if we want to email you about your Facebook Live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a Tim Ferriss thing, but what's one of the books you actually give away or give as gifts?
Depends on the situation. So one of the books that changed my life was Eckhart Tolle's New Earth. And that was one of the books that I started reading back in 2006 when I was going through kind of my epiphany and a lot of my it is what it is, and we have control over this moment and the power of now, and this too shall pass. So it gave me a lot of great coping skills and a lot of great things that helped me as an advocate and working with survivors. And now I'm listening to it again now on Audible because I'm okay, I'm going through a lot of changes right now, and I wonder if there's something different. And I think that book is definitely something where you can find something new and something different, whatever it is that you're kind of seeking in the moment. And then The Go-Giver. It's a super simple, easy read, but really brings in the success of your life and your business through giving. And it's just this, literally, you could probably read it in 45 minutes on a Saturday. Just a very good, knowledgeable read.
What are you doing to prepare for this transition that's coming up amazingly fast?
Oh! I was which one? The little human, not sure, because I'm not sure of what I need to do. And the job transition, so July is my really insane month at the Y, because we have all of our, it's the end of our fiscal year, and so I have 10 federal grant reports to write, and trying to teach somebody how to do all of those things in the next week, how to write the grants, do the award docs, and all of the quarterly and 6-month and annual reports is really fun. So working on that, but I'm gonna get a massage, and I am going to a entrepreneur conference at the end of August with Amy Porterfield. She's an amazing online influencer. So I was enrolled in one of her courses, and kind of one of her bonuses is a live event with her, Marie Forleo, and Jasmine Starr. And so I'm really excited to kind of just be in the same room with them for 3 days, and to be able to learn and grow in that way. So that's my vacation. Is that sad? Oh, but then I'm going to go spend 2 nights with a friend that also lives in California. So technically, she's important too. Love you, Yvonne.
Make sure you hit the beach.
What's that?
Hit the beach.
Yes. Yeah, it's right on the.
Was the little human planet?
Yes. Remember, it was on my vision board.
So your job change came as a result of that change?
It's all kind of.
It just came together?
I think the stars in the universe and everything was just kind of aligned, because the tiny human is due mid-January, and that's the other crazy time of the year where all of our then mid-year reports, and we start writing all of the grants. So I wasn't going to be able to be around for those things, and so I was already going to have to teach somebody how to do those, and I thought this might be my only way out to where I feel like, well, not my only way out, but like if I don't take up this opportunity, like I really had to like listen within and trust me, like, you know, like this is a huge part of my passion. But again, it came down to the fact that what I really want to do in this world is share all of these messages and help people professionally and personally. And the more successful I become in doing that, the more I can contribute to the YWCA, or to agencies that do the work. And so, you know, I'm like, you know, I don't have to be an employee there, but I can be one, you know, really amazing board member, or, you know, and help in different capacities. So, again, it's like kind of one of those, like, not goodbye forever. So it's not like I'm just cutting them off. I just know that in the future, I can better serve them if I fulfill this other thing first, that I'll be able to give back. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be listed as all of those things, or you wouldn't see me on the news doing all these media interviews on Me Too and their rape kit backlog and all these different things. So like, I wouldn't have all of those things after my name if it wasn't for the YWCA and the investment that they made in me and my training and leadership stuff. So it's really, I want to be able to give back to them. It's just time for somebody else to take over and to create, because, you know, when I popped in, I was able to grow it. And I just know that this team right now, like, they're amazing. Like, the team is so strong that I just know that it's in good hands. And if anything, I was probably holding them back.
Sometimes you just need a reboot, like the computer. All right, guys, any final questions? Any more? All right. Well, guys, thank you. Give it a round of applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And if you do have further questions, y'all know how to get a hold of me.
Y'all, you sound like an Okie.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I want you
Again.
to know you can just email me, okay? And I'll email you right back, okay?
All right, guys, so you're welcome to join us right across the street to Joey's Pizzeria. Pizza, beer, tea, milk, water, whatever you're into. Great conversations. That's where we break the bread together. When you're having meals together, you can't get away from each other. That's when we're communicating. I always joke that, which is true, it's not really a joke, but entrepreneurs are lonely. So if you're an entrepreneur or want to become an entrepreneur, this is a chance to carry on that conversation. Any other, Angelina?
Up-level your circle if you need
Up-level your, yeah, that's right. Jim Rohn, is he the one that said that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And we always joke that when Angela and I became entrepreneurs, we had a list we had to cut out. We knew how dangerous and poisonous bad relationships or people with a lot of drama, we had to cut those out. We made a list, and we cut some family members out, a lot of our friends out. But when we made that list and made the cuts, we actually opened up new spaces for new people, right? And people that were very, very successful in us, we made room for them. And when you have the right attitude and gratitude, those people that are much more successful, and it doesn't have to be financial, it could be spiritual, financial, physical, all kinds of other things in their life, they will actually reach down and say, come on up. Because they've been there, they know what it's like, right? And so they won't give you anything per se, but they'll give you some knowledge and help. They'll do some things for you, right? They won't but they'll let you come up in their world. And the conversations that you have are very high level. And sometimes you may not believe it yet, but that's in your path. And so this one couple that we go to dinner with once a month, I mean, the conversations that we have with them, I mean, it's like, I'll never do that, right? And then all of a sudden one day, I'm going to do that. And it's in the radar, it's in the plan. And so that's what happens when you start associating with other people. And vice versa, sometimes you'll make more room. People that are a little bit, who have the right attitude and gratitude, you'll say the same thing, hey, I was there, I've been there. And so a lot of the entrepreneurs, that's why we have them come speak to us. Is the whole purpose of this group is to inspire us and share their stories, because you may see her as all these successes and all the things she's doing, but you don't know her story of all the knee scrapes and falling down and all those things. And that's how it's important. It's important to us to be inspired, right, to encourage us. And so the transitions that she's making, again, when you meet entrepreneurs, you may see them very successful, right? Where they started out, whether it's in high school or college or what their first jobs or where they started and where they're out today, may have nothing to do with each other. But the experiences along the way all connect, right? We always can't see where we're going. When we look back, we're like, oh, that made so much sense, right? And so that's the whole part of the journey. So guys, thank you for coming out. We'll see you next month, the fourth Thursday, unless there's a change. Jason Gio coming out to talk about his journey. I've got to sit down with him as well. He's got a whole bunch of hidden trees and along the way as well. So thank you for coming out, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.